Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Book and Wine, to Peeling Back the Label with Book and Wine Lovers Marketing. Today we have a very special guest, Janet Rudolph, and we're going to be talking about her book today. This week actually is her book birthday, so we're celebrating that. And she had also had a book tour this week. So we're going to get in all to the nitty gritty details about her book and her experiences while she was writing the book. I heard the dial tone. Okay, I can hear you, but I can't see you, but that's fine. We're still going to do it.
Oh no, you can't see me. Let's see.
You could see me though,
Yeah,
right?
yes, I can see you, and I can see
Okay.
if I'm on camera. But
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why that happens, but happy book birthday. I had a little crown, but I couldn't find it. I don't know what I did with it. But anyway, happy book birthday. Yay. Um, it's not going to be as fun because I won't be able to see, your beautiful face and smiling and whatnot. But I'm just going to have to pretend.
okay,
I have a little FOMO right now because I can't see you, but we're still going to do it. When it does go on Instagram, when I put it on my reels, it will show both of us. Why it's not, I don't
right.
know. But
Then I won't
this
make
is
any
better.
faces.
No talking behind my back. It's just so much fun when I could see the person because all I'm doing is seeing myself, and it's just not as fun.
Uh, I can see you, so I'm having a good time.
Okay, that's good. Oh boy. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate you coming on, Janet. I don't know, like I
I
always say, it's
appreciate
the
the
internet
effort.
gods. They're mischievous sometimes, and they like to play havoc with us.
Yes, and I have a lot of experience with that because that kind of has defined my life.
See that? Now, do you happen to have the book handy that you could, show it to everybody? Because of course I can't see you, but
I have my phone. I got to put it down for a minute to get it because I'm plugged in. So
okay,
hold
I hear you.
on
Me
for a
too.
minute. I'll go grab it and I'll show it.
Okay, I'll take a sip of my wine. I think I need a little sip now with all that sweating bullets trying to get on.
Okay, so everyone was just seeing my ceiling, but now I'm holding up the book.
So that's the book and the beautiful cover. And I guess
Right. It
what we
was
could
in
go
a
ahead.
burgundy color, but then I reprinted it under my own imprint, which is Flower Heart Productions, and it changed the color of the cover. It's pretty much the same book, but
Just a different color, the color wave.
right, right.
Very good. I was just kind of saying before I hooked you in that all the reviews for the book on the book tour have been fabulous. People have been saying, they might not have picked up the book on their own, but they are so happy that they did because the book was magical, inspirational. They got so much out of the book. And we're going to, talk to you today a little bit about that and, the behind the scenes and what you would, obviously the book is about your experiences, but we can go into a little bit of that without, having any too many spoilers. And I want everybody to explain, the title of your book is I'll have to read it because it's long. The true story of desperately seeking, is it Persephone?
Persephone, she's a Greek goddess
Okay.
who goes to
Okay.
the world.
Okay. The true story of my shamanic journey through the underworld. Now that's a big title
Correct.
and a lot of explaining. So could you go into that a little bit?
So the underworld can be seen as a metaphor for when we go through difficult times in our lives, and we all go through them. And sometimes there's a surprise. Life just hits us, and we don't even know what hit us. And
Mhm.
then we need to find like new ways of being in the world or new ways of approaching different aspects of our lives. And so that's a metaphor for being in the underworld. And Persephone is kidnapped by Hades in the story, and she ends up in the underworld, and she ends up actually becoming the queen of the underworld. So I was like, well, if she can do it, then I can do it too. And I figured I needed to learn, how did she get out of the underworld, or how did she become queen of the underworld? Like, what was this process? Because I had a very violent childhood, and I needed to learn what it was to emerge into the light and be able to be in the present moment.
Agreed, agreed. Everyone just, they they were so surprised about the horrific accounts that you had to encounter. Obviously, through writing this book and going through that journey, it has healed you in sort of a way. Is that right?
I want the book to be about my traumas, although
Mhm.
I did have to say what I was healing from, but I wanted it to be about that healing journey.
Mhm.
And I actually ended up with 2 shamanic initiations. And as far as I know, other than someone like Carlos Castaneda, this is the only book that describes in detail, how you go through shamanic initiations, like what that process is.
Can you go into a little bit of that? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't even know what that is.
Right. Well, so shamans are people are what's my elevator pitch on shaman? Shamans are people that work with the earth and the heavens and the relationship between them. And we work with other relationships between people, relationships with our inner self and our outer self. It works with all kinds of relationships. And that's where the mystery comes in, because life really is a mystery.
Mhm.
It's a journey from birth to death. And that journey, how we take it and how we approach it in our lives, affects who we are and who we become. And one of the shamanic initiations I had was what would be considered, quote, a more traditional one, really of the earth. And it was with what I have come to call a warrior shaman. And I loved, we went out and we really went for it. We did all kinds of ceremonies, such as a original baptism, where we would go into waters, running mountainous waters in pre-dawn time. And the idea was a purification, and we would dunk ourselves in the waters and we would come out as the sun would rise. So it was a metaphor for approaching the dark and coming back into the light, or being reborn into the light. So we really went for it. But as I started to heal, I realized that warrior shamanism perhaps wasn't my pathway, because it was a little bit confrontational, not a little bit, a lot confrontational. And that wasn't how I wanted to live my life. So I loved what I learned there. I loved my experiences, but it was time for me to move on. So I ended up with Serge Kahili King, who's a Hawaiian shaman, and he has Aloha International on the big island of Hawaii. And then I studied with him, and he does what's called adventure shamanism. And I love that, because it's again how you approach things. If you approach things as a warrior, you're getting ready to fight.
Right.
But if you approach
Yeah.
adventurer, then you are getting ready to have some fun, to learn new things, to have new experiences. And so I really enjoy. So I love what I learned, and in my warrior shaman experience. But I practice adventure shamanism now, with seeds of warrior
Yeah.
shamanism.
How old were you when you started this shamanic journey?
Well, I mean, I think I was called to it from a really young age. Just something I knew, and I talk about that a bit in my book. But it was in 1997 when I started the formal training. So that I was 45.
Okay.
And I stayed with that first group for 17 years.
Wow. Wow, that's
Yes.
a long time.
It,
Now, when you said stay with this group, were you able to live in your own house, or you had to like kind of live with them? How did that work?
yeah, thank you. I actually I have a family, a husband. I had 3 kids, so I did live at home, but I would travel. I'm in New York, and first they were in Maine, so I would travel to Maine. They would meet, I think, every other month at the very beginning, and then they moved to Washington State.
Oh,
So when they did,
okay.
we would meet for 2 weeks a year. We would meet once in the spring and once in the summer.
Well, that's so nice that obviously your family supported you with that, because then you would have to be away,
It,
you know, for
it
that
was
time.
definitely a challenge. And
But you did it. You did it.
as part of that shamanic, we traveled around the world to experience shamanism in different cultures like Greece and Scotland and Mesoamerica. So we went to Mexico and Peru. And in some of those trips, I was able to take my family.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so they did come with me to some degree. So I was,
That's terrific.
yeah, I was very lucky. And I talk about some of those trips in my book as well, and the importance of them, to being able to understand how the same knowledge grew up with different clothing, as it were, because of different cultures.
Agreed. Agreed. Now, is there anything like that while you were writing the book? Are there any experiences you had, or maybe while you were doing some research, or even just if you want to tell us about any of the experiences that you just had through your journey that you would like, you know, to give everybody a little piece of what was
Well,
going on?
I'll tell you one, and it was one of the reasons I started writing the book, because mysterious things started happening. So after, like in 2000, I'm trying to just get the dates right. In 2018, I had a friend a friend, an Ecuadorian medicine woman named Susanna, and she was trying to run a workshop in Ecuador. And she said to me, "Can you please contact this other woman, Suzu, that's a Japanese name. Can you contact her? Because she's having trouble. She wants to come. Would you try to reach her and help her make arrangements?" So it took a while. I never reached her, actually. She reached me. And one day on Facebook, she writes, "Were we roommates she gave me an address in Manhattan in 1977. And I was like, uh-oh, because I don't remember her. And she gave me 3 facts about myself. One fact, that I had been to Israel, and I brought her, and I had a scarf that I gave her. The other fact was that we took dancing classes together at Alvin Ailey. And the third fact was I had given her a book by Serge Kahili King. And it was 1977. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't remember you. And since then, we've become friends. And I still don't remember from
Isn't
1977.
that funny how you don't like nothing came back to you?
No. But I realized why I didn't remember her. That was the year I was raped. And it literally wiped my memory out. I have
Hmm.
no
Hmm.
time. So when she came back in my life. This was 2018, 2019. You can do the math. It's like 40 years. And through the agency of this friend of mine in Ecuador, no less. And we were just, and I realized that she was holding a piece of myself that I
Oh,
couldn't hold. And when I was ready to accept it back, she showed up in my life again.
oh,
Because
like it's give me chills.
yeah,
That I just got chills from all that. It's like meant to be.
right. I thought that had been harsh or mean to her. And she was like, "No, you were so kind. You helped me in all these ways." And that was a piece of myself I hadn't been able to accept.
Oh,
Yeah, 40 years later, she shows up in my life. And here's the kicker. There's a couple of kickers, but here's the kicker, I can tell in shorthand. So I went to Serge. I said, "Serge, when did you write your first book on Huna?" Huna is this Hawaiian shamanism. 1983. So Susan and I only knew each other for a short time in 1977, and
mm-hmm.
not until 2018, 19. And I was like, "How did that happen?" And Serge said, "You guys grabbed the book from the future," is how he put it. Because
Okay.
that's 6 years after we knew each other.
Yeah. Huh.
It was very. So that was so I was having these mysterious circumstances of things showing up in my life. And I said, I have to make sense of this. And,
Mm-hmm.
and one
Mm-hmm.
of the things I came to understand is not only do these things happen in my life, they really do happen in everyone's life. And if we turn our attention to it, we become aware of all these happenings. in our lives, and strange meetings, or just I didn't mean strange, I meant chance
No, I knew
meetings
what you meant. Yes, yeah.
that really affect us so deeply. So
I'm sure now you're so more attuned to so many things and what, the people that are in your life now or in the future or the past. Like, I'm sure you're so much more in tune to that.
yes, I feel like I am. Yes, and yet I'm constantly surprised.
That's good. That's life. That's good, right?
That's
You're
the
supposed to be
adventure.
surprised. That's good.
That's the
That means you're alive. Yay.
yes.
So that was one. And you said you had another one that you wanted to tell everybody?
Yeah, it gets kind of complicated. One of the people who also 1977 was the person I met named Father Ted. He was a Catholic priest, and when I look back on him, he saved my life.
Mm.
And so this was maybe a little bit after. So also 2019. I don't have the dates right in front of me.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I had this. Um, he gave me a painting from this nun who was very famous, named Sister Compassion. And back in the day in 1977, he gave me this picture, this painting, and I had it all these years. And I just had this feeling like this painting has to find its way home. I was like frantic. It's like this painting, and I didn't even know where it was. It's like but it has to go home. And it was Sister Compassion lived in a Dominican monastery in Union City, New Jersey, and the monastery had closed. So I had to figure out what. So I wrote to all the Dominican orders in the area, and I said, "Where do you think this painting should go?" And they say to me, they find me this person, Clifford, who's collecting Sister Compassion's works, and he's doing it on behalf of a college who displays her works. So we contact each other, and it turns out that he and another man are writing a book on Sister Compassion, and they're had heard about Father Ted. He was apparently there were a lot of stories about him, but they couldn't find anybody who knew him personally because he disappeared. And they asked me all these questions. Is it Ted? Is it Theodore or Alfred? And where did he live? And where was he from? And I was like, I couldn't answer any of the
Mhm.
questions. I was like, what kind of friend was I? And I realized this was also in 1977 when I had no memories. And yet he
Mhm.
showed me absolute unconditional love.
Mm.
I mean, the reason I got this painting was he took me out to the monastery, and I worked to clean it. but he introduced me to all the nuns, and I think they were not allowed to speak, but because I was in the back there, they were speaking to me, and I believe they prayed for me too. And then after a year of knowing him, he disappeared from my life. The chapter, actually, this was one thing. The only change I made in the book is I changed the title of the chapter where I talk about him, and I put "Touched by an Angel" because
Mhm. Mhm.
because that's what it felt like. He was just this angelic figure in my life who taught me something, and having him again come back into my life, or at least in a spiritual sense. Somebody, unconditional love is so rare, and yet
Absolutely.
he absolutely brimming with it. And unfortunately, I don't remember any of the details of his life, and maybe that's by design. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think he felt that it was important. You did. It was more just him being there for you and like that unconditional love. It seems like it didn't matter. And I hear you keep on saying, "Oh, I felt so bad I didn't remember," but everyone is saying that you were very friendly and very nice, and you just don't remember that, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's not how I saw myself at the time.
Hmm. But everybody saw you
You know.
in a good way.
Thank you.
In a good way. I have some people on the Instagram. I wanted to ask them if anybody had any questions for Janet, especially if anyone who read the book. I figured they could put it in comments while Janet and I talk, and then once they come up, I could let you know. Is that okay, Janet?
That's perfect. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, because people that they're in and out, so who knows? But we'll wait and see if anybody asks us any questions.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so he was definitely an angel for you.
And I think one of the important things, that one of the lessons for me in the book, and I hope other people, is that there are these earth angels that come to our lives, and it might just be, again, something passing, or it can be more substantial, and we can be earth angels for others as well.
Agreed. I totally agree with that. It is amazing. Just even like, your life journey, you had to go through this before you could experience that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
I definitely know where you're coming from with that. Sometimes I think back, even like with my own life, and I'm like, well, I guess I had to go through this in order to receive, that, or however, however it works, it works. It's just, it's meant to be, it's meant to
And
be.
that's very Huna. That's the Hawaiian
Very,
shamanism. Because that,
oh,
what I mean by that is it's the attitude, your focus of your mind when you're looking at parts of your life, especially the challenging parts. It's like you can't change what happened in your past, but you can change your relationship to it, and you can
yes,
find,
yeah.
yeah. So yes, so
So
very
many people
important.
are hooked up on the past, and it's like just throw it out the window and just move forward. It's not healthy to think about the past so much, right? And you have personal experience of it,
Yeah.
and it's just not healthy. Just let it go, and then you have to, like you said, start your journey and start your healing.
And you can even find treasures and gifts. And that's the key. That for me is the key of the whole thing, is finding the gifts that you were given. Like if I hadn't had such a violent childhood, would I have gone off on these shamanic adventures? Probably not.
No,
And yet
no, you wouldn't.
I'm
Definitely not. I really don't think so.
yeah, I'm so grateful to have had these experiences that, not, at least in this format, not a lot of people have had. People have had other experiences that are equally wonderful.
Agreed. Yeah, I definitely. Now, what, why did you decide to write this book? I mean, you went through all these things. You did, you did all your journeys and all that. But what made you want to write about your journey?
It's a good question. So there's two reasons. That, first of all, as I said, all this happened to me, and it was like I couldn't really make sense of it. It could. How do you figure when people from 40 years ago start showing up in your life? Like what? How do you even
Mm-hmm.
make?
Mm-hmm.
And people that had a profound impact on me, even though I couldn't remember details. So my first uh, spark of writing really came from trying to figure it out. So I just started putting it down on paper. But then writing it, I realized things like Persephone, the Greek myth, and other myths, they really are templates for everyone. Not just, and everybody can approach it in their own manner. And that there's something so universal. That's why these myths have stood the test of time. And so I thought, wow, and as I was sharing, I joined a writers group, and as I was sharing the stories, I kept getting stories back that, yes, I had a similar experience. And I'm like, wow, this could really be a template for others as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it helped me, and I hope it helps others as well.
I think so. I mean, everybody that, the reviews that we have gotten, I mean, everybody loves the book. They felt from it. They, were inspired by it. Definitely. You definitely are helping people.
Well, then my work is complete.
Yep. It's complete. You just got to keep on writing. That's what it is. You got to just keep on writing.
Absolutely.
When speaking of writing, when you were writing your book, was this like pen and paper? Was it always on a computer? Like, or just whatever pieces of paper you could, grab? Like, what was your process?
Well, some of both. I always carry little notebooks with me, like purse notebooks that are small little notebooks that I can then write in. And so if I'm out and about doing whatever I'm doing and a thought comes to mind, I can jot it down. But most of my writing was on the computer. I
Hmm.
I look at these like Shakespeare or older writers and like, how did they do it without the word processing abilities we have today? But
Yeah,
yeah, so I did most of it. And it was really interesting because as I started writing, more and more revelations came to me. So
interesting.
the process, and again, that's very Huna. Our our tenets is energy flows where attention goes. So when I turn my attention to this process, creativity flowed, creativity and energy flowed.
Absolutely. Do you have any like with all your, shamanic experiences and journeys and all that, do you have any words of wisdom for just, the people who are listening, or just pretty much just like anybody? Do you have any words of wisdom? Is there anything like something that that you learned that really stood out that anyone could relate to, type of thing?
Yes, yes, and it's really the first tenet of Hunaism, which is of Hunaism, which is we call it the world is what you think it is, and it really does can change your entire life. For example, you walk into a room and say you're an interior decorator. Think about what you'll notice. But then say you're walking into a room and you're a child and you want to play. What are you going to notice? Or you walk into a room and you're thinking of buying the house that this room is in. What are you going to notice? What is in your mind will affect the experiences that you have. So it was one of my close friends who's also works in Huna. His name is Stuart Blackburn. He says it pays to pay attention to what you're paying attention to. It pays to pay attention to what you're paying attention to. So
Agreed. Yes.
that changed my life.
That you're right, because like if you're going to think negative, it's going to be negative. Positive, I mean, just just as simple as that,
Right.
without going into any detail. You're right.
Yeah.
You are 100% right, and so is he.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to add to that?
I just want to thank you so much. This has been such an incredible process. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, I enjoyed it too. I definitely enjoyed it.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, do you have any things on the back burner that you're working on or anything, Janet?
So one of the things I do is I translate biblical verses.
Oh, okay.
Here's my elevator pitch for one of the things that I do. The name Eve in Hebrew means life, and the tree that she was forbidden from eating from in the Garden of Eden is the tree of life. It's literally her tree. It was named after her. And in that area of the world at that time, there were goddesses and trees all the time.
Hmm.
So the gifts that she gave of that tree were hers to give. And I like people to think about, what if that is the fundamental foundational belief of our society? Not that we're cursed because Eve ate from the tree, but that this was a gift. This was the original gift that she gave to humanity.
Hmm.
Different would our life be if that was the foundational belief?
Yeah,
And that is what the trans say it was.
I like that.
So that is that is what I do, and I'm working on another book that will focus on that direction.
Wonderful. Yeah, yeah. Definitely have to keep on writing, Janet, because everyone seems to love your
Thank,
book. They love hearing about your journey. You have so much. You have just such a wealth of information to share to
thank
people,
you.
and you need to let people know about all that.
I do have two books out where I've written a little bit about it. One is when Eve was a goddess, and the other is when Moses was a shaman.
Okay.
So just
When Eve
just
was I'm
yeah,
writing it down so I can let everybody know. Eve was a
and when
goddess. And what was the other one? I'm sorry.
was a shaman.
Okay. And these can be purchased on
Right.
Amazon?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So this way, anyone who's listening, whether it's now or later on, because this will be on Instagram and on YouTube, they could check you out and check out your other books,
Wonderful.
and join your Facebook group and your website, right? And this way they could continue to follow you. Maybe you send out newsletters or what have you, and they could keep up to date with everything that's going on.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't do newsletters now, but it's something on my to-do list. So
I know. Believe me, everybody's to-do list is a mile long. There's just not enough time in the day, or enough arms.
yes.
But I want to thank you so much for coming on, Janet. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we got to meet each other, and we were put in each other's paths for a reason, whatever that may be. But we were, right?
Agreed. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I missed that. You got cut out.
Oh, I just said, and again, I thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was my pleasure. Happy book birthday again. Enjoy. And I'll definitely have you on again soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.